Let's talk about the Buck 112 Folding Hunter. Now, I'm aware that there's loads of videos about this knife, but this is just my take on it because I like talking about knives. And it is one of my favourite knives in my collection, so let's have a look at it. I quite like this leather sheath that it comes with. It seems pretty damn sturdy. I'm assuming this button is either brass or copper. I'm not entirely sure. It seems really well stitched, although I've never carried it, so I don't really know how well it'll hold up. But the leather seems reasonably thick and it seems stitched pretty well, so I think this sheath probably will stand the test of time. Let's have a look at the knife. Here we go. To me, this is what a knife should be. To me, this is almost knife perfection. This is the kind of knife that I think everyone should have, and if I legally could, this is a knife that I would carry every single day, probably without exception. I absolutely love this knife. I love the design, I love the weight, I love the feel. I just love everything about this knife. Probably one of the most easily recognisable knives probably in the world, or at least one of the most easily recognisable pocket knives in the world. Everyone knows this knife design. It's a simple knife design. They've been around for long enough. Not really sure how old this design is. I think it was Buck that came up with this design, although I'm really not sure. It is an early lock knife, I do believe. I may be mistaken. Again, it is a Buck 112 Folding Hunter, made in the USA. I'm not entirely sure where Buck is stationed about, but anyway. Now, one of the things I really like about this knife is the blade shape. It is a clip point, and I absolutely love clip point knives. There's just something about them, they just look so great. And like many other pocket knives, it is hollow ground. The hollow ground is the same kind of grind that you'll find on a straight razor or a shave it or whatever it is you want to call it, cutthroat razor. It's not too difficult to sharpen. I've managed to sharpen it a few times, although I've never really used it, but I did make it sharper than it was. Now, as I said, the blade shape is one of my favourite things about this knife, and my other favourite thing about this knife is brass and walnut. Now, me being the woodworker, I absolutely love wood. It's a really nice, beautiful, natural material, and it's been used to make knives and tool handles since forever actually. And the walnut with the brass just looks absolutely lovely. And especially I quite like pinned knives where you can see the pins or the rivets. Personally, I do not like it when knife companies try to hide the rivets or the pins. To me, when you see rivets or pins, it just goes to show this is probably a strong knife because it's riveted together. You're not really going to be able to take it apart, so unless the materials are poor, this should stay solid. Now, I've never actually used this knife for two reasons. One, it's bloody stunning. I absolutely love the look of this knife. Now, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of people laughing at that, saying this knife is nothing, blah blah blah. Well, these are kind of expensive in the UK. I mean, when I bought it, which was probably about 2 or 3 years ago off the internet, I paid about £55, 55 British pounds for this knife. Now, if I was to go into a shop, now when it comes to knives, it's hard to find knife shops in the UK, so you're usually going to go to a fishing or a hunting shop, and there ain't that many of them either. You're probably going to pay upwards of £70 for this knife. I think I did see this knife in a hunting shop, a game and tackle shop once, and I think they wanted about £75 for it. And I have seen it online for around that price as well. Now, Americans, if there's any watching, are probably thinking that's an absolutely insane price because they could just go down to Walmart and pay less than $30 for it. Lucky you. I wish we could do that. We don't really have anything like that here, and government is continuously clamping down on knives as we speak, which in turn probably raises the price of knives, bearing in mind we don't have that many knife manufacturers in the UK. There's certainly none that I know of in Scotland, and there are a few very old ones in England, but the quality of their knives are declining, which is a real shame because Links of Sheffield has over 300 years experience in knife making, and it's a shame that's kind of going down the drain. But anyway, back to this knife. It feels kind of bulky, and it does look kind of bulky, and I absolutely love that about this knife. I mean, sure, there are lots of great modern knives, and they're so lightweight, and that is really convenient, not going to lie. Although, I like to know my knife is there, you know what I mean? I like to know that the knife is in my pocket, which is part of the reason I actually don't carry a Spyderco, in case I accidentally forget it's there, and, you know, I take my jeans off and put them in the washing machine, and oops, I've just washed my knife. Who knows what kind of damage that's going to do. I really don't want to risk it. But I don't actually carry my Spydercos anyway because of the price of them. I just keep them as a collectible. But personally, to me, this is a beautiful knife. Knives like these, like this, should set the standards. It just looks nice. It feels solid. Although I've never actually used it. It is a lockback, which is the very reason I cannot legally carry it. Now, I personally really wish that knife companies such as Buck would make the exact same knife, only difference being it'd be a slip joint. If Buck came out with a knife exactly like this, no different, the only difference being it's a slip joint, I would most definitely, you know, run out and buy it straight away. I need a knife like this, because this to me is knife perfection. I dare say I'd be willing to pay twice the price I paid for this one, although I'd probably be very hesitant to use it. But to me, again, this is what a knife should be. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Comment, rate and subscribe. See you soon.